My name is Sarah. I'm 29 years old. I'm married to a man named David. He's 35 years old. We live in a small, comfortable house. David is a good husband. He works very hard every day. For a long time, our life was normal. Everything was simple and calm. But then things began to change slowly. It started with our neighbor. Her name was Martha. She lived in the house next to ours. I started to notice Martha often. It felt like she was always at her window. She watched me constantly. It was a strange feeling. Martha never smiled. Her face was always serious. She never said hello. She never spoke a single word to me. She only watched. Her eyes were always fixed on me. I felt scared. I did not understand why she stared at me so much. Is it normal for neighbors to watch each other like this? I did not think so. One afternoon, I was hanging clothes outside in the garden. I turned around slowly. Martha was at her window, watching me. It was too much. I could not breathe. My heart beat fast and I hurried back inside my house. Later that evening, David came home from work. He asked about my day. I decided to tell him the truth. "David," I said, "that woman is always watching me. Every time I go outside, Martha is there." David smiled gently. "Sarah, my love, you are imagining things," he said. "Maybe she just likes looking out her window." He thought I was being silly. "No, David," I insisted. "I am not imagining it. It is real. She watches me all the time. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I feel like I cannot breathe." David kissed my forehead. "You worry too much," he said. "There's nothing to be afraid of. She's just an old neighbor." He did not understand. He could not see it from my perspective, but I knew I was right. I needed to show David. I needed him to see Martha. Every morning I tried. "Look, David, she's there." I pointed to Martha's window. David looked quickly, but the window was always empty. Martha was never there when David looked. As soon as he came near, she moved away. David turned to me and said, "Sweetheart, there's no one there. Please don't worry." But I worried more. David did not believe me. I felt very lonely. I wanted my old, quiet life back. I needed to feel safe in my own home. I needed proof. I needed to take a picture of Martha to show David the truth. The next morning, I woke up early. I pointed my phone at her window. I pressed the button. Click. I looked at the screen. The photo was clear. Martha's face was in her window. "This is the proof," I whispered. I ran to David. He was at the breakfast table. I held out the phone to him. "Look," I said. David looked at the picture. His face changed. "Is that her?" he asked. "Yes," I said. David stood up. He put his hand on my arm. "You were right, Sarah. I'm sorry I didn't believe you." He looked at the window, then back at the phone. He looked scared. "Stay close to me. I need to go over there. I need to talk to her." I froze. My husband walked to the front door and opened it. I watched him go. He walked to Martha's house. There were no lights on. He knocked on her door. No one answered. There was no sound inside. David knocked again. Still nothing. David looked through the windows. There was no sign that anyone lived there. No clothes, no chairs, no table. David came back to our house. His face was pale. He looked terrified. "Sarah," he said, "there is no one there." "What?" I asked. "But Martha lives there. We saw her today. I took a picture." David shook his head. "No, Sarah. I asked some people on the street. That house has been empty for many years. Nobody lives there. It is just an abandoned house." My heart stopped. An empty house? But I saw Martha every single day. The photo on my phone showed her face clearly. How could this be true? I felt like I was losing my mind. The next morning, I decided to find the official truth. I walked quickly to the town council office. A kind woman sat at a desk. I gave her the address of the house next door. She checked her computer. After a moment, she gave me an official paper. The paper said the house was empty. It had been empty for 5 years. My hands started shaking. My whole body felt cold. There was no Martha. There was no neighbor watching me. It made no sense. I quickly took out my phone. I opened the photo I had taken of Martha's face. But now, the photo was different. There was no face. There was only an empty window. No woman stood there. I stared at the screen in horror. After that day, I saw shadows move in my house. David saw my fear. He was worried for me and for himself. "Sarah, we must leave. We need to move away from here. We can start a new life somewhere else." He hoped a new home would make me safe, but I knew moving would not help. Martha was not in the house next door. Martha was something else. I knew I would never be free. If we moved to a new city or country, it would not matter. Martha would find me. The watching would never stop. Sometimes when I look in the mirror, my eyes change. They look exactly like Martha's eyes. I understand now. Martha was not a neighbor. Martha was inside me. The watching never ended. It was always there. Every time I was alone, I felt it. Even with David, I felt it. She is always watching. She is a part of me. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.